Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another DLC video. So guys, today I've been working very hard on a complete guide to the new Bloodroot Forge dungeon and the new Horns of Reach DLC. This is a very difficult dungeon. It is very interesting and it has new things, new elements completely introduced. It's a lot of fun, but it's very difficult. I am telling you guys exactly how to do everything, how to get through it, how to defeat every boss, what to be looking for, where the chests are, all the tips and secrets. So I hope you guys are ready to go. So let's get straight into it.
Kind be praised. I wasn't sure I'd see the end of these cursed wilds. Please, you have to help the others. These beasts torched our homes and dragged us to this place to slave and die. Reachmen and Minotaurs, like none I've ever seen. They cut out their hearts and put the blood-red rock we mine in their place. It turns their skin to stone and their blood to fire. That's not even to speak of their infernal forge. The Earth's beating heart. It thunders day and night, shaping their twisted heartstones and wicked blades that thirst for blood. Those of us they take to the forge never return. Will you spare the others from that fate? The forge lies deep in the ruins beyond these wilds. Tread carefully. These woods obey the Reach Hag Khalifa. If you hear the sound of crows, it's too late.
As soon as you finish talking to Finland about the Reach and the Forge, he will tell you to go in and figure out what is going on. So you're going to run in, and there's going to be some basic enemies at first. You have to get all the way up the hill through the gate, and for right now, you have to fight some very, very basic enemies. But after you do so, you get to fight your very first boss, and his name is Math Gamian, which is just a typical bear. For some reason, he's a bear that's undead, that's just chilling, that you're supposed to kill. It's very simple. He's a very basic boss. There's not even any ads. The old hag, you see her pop up for a second. But besides Math Gamian, there's a few stranglers, nothing else. Just tank him, taunt him a little bit, rough him up, kill him. Should be super fast. Definitely the easiest fight of the entire game. After you kill Math Gamian, your task is to kill his Hagrid owner, the old lady from Skyrim, the witches. And you must kill her. She's a very simple boss. Before you get to her, you have to walk up the hill and kill these basic enemies. But then once you get to her, you need to approach her a very certain way. She's a pretty easy boss to kill, but she has a very unique ability that is pretty original to this entire thing. That's never really been done before. Yeah, they have used it in an aspect, but this is pretty cool. So basically, she is an old hag in this game, but she has a very unique ability. When her health reaches 75%, she throws up a wall that will kill you instantly if you touch her. So basically, she'll teleport away a little bit, and then she'll throw up a wall of wind, and if you touch it or get inside of it, it will damage you and eventually kill you. And it's very good for her because, you know, you're knowing how much health she has left. It's just a interesting ability. It's nothing too special, and she has stranglers and little bears and other ADS. Just rough her up a little bit. She's pretty simple. Just get through her shield, kill her. You know, her shield lasts a long time. It probably lasts 10 seconds at least. So she's a very simple enemy to kill. Definitely nothing too complicated. Like I said, she has a few ADSs, but that's about it. And right here, you'll see her wall being used. It's a pretty heavy hit, honestly. It kills you pretty quickly. So like I said, this is the only ability really to worry about. But after you kill her, make sure to loot her body, and then there's a fork up in the road, and if you actually go up there, there is nothing there. There's just a few enemies. But then when you walk in here, this is the door to the main dungeon, to the forge area. This is pretty basic. It's a cool door, though. But as soon as you get in, this is the map to the entire dungeon that you will be seeing. It's a pretty big, curly type deal, and you'll also notice that the whole thing is basically in a volcano. So you want to be real careful in the lava. But once you get through the volcano a little bit, you'll get your first Dreadhorn and his name is Earth Gorir, and this boy is big and bad and tough. You might think, oh, he's just a Minotaur, he's just a little mini boss, but these mini bosses are ridiculous. These Minotaurs are absolutely game-breaking. They are so strong, they are so powerful. I don't really think that you can even do justice just by watching this. If you saw him do his little slam, he will kill you very, very quickly. I'm a tank, so I have more health than the average bear, but had that been anyone else, he jumps and he slams or something, and that will kill you. It is very, very easy to be killed by a Minotaur. Now, when you're running around this thing, remember, it's a volcano, so be very careful in the lava. If you have a lot of health like I do, you'll live very easily, but if you're like a little DPS, you're gonna get messed up. And here we have another Dreadhorn. There is quite a few of these Minotaurs, and they can chain you, they can do all kinds of crazy abilities. Just make sure you're watching out. And now we have your third boss already, Stoneheart. This guy is interesting. I'm not exactly sure his whole point in the story. I'm assuming he's like a Reachman leader or something, but he is not very difficult. He throws rocks at you. He has a few adds. He can spawn a stone atronach and really just focus on the stone atronach when he spawns it. And he can teleport around. He can throw flames. He's very, very simple. Not a difficult boss to kill at all. Go on a tear, mess him up. You can probably all switch to DPS and kill him very quickly. If you guys all know what you're doing, you're being efficient with your time, you can kill him quickly, kill all of his adds, and then you can focus on him. Very, very easy enemy. And then after you kill him, make sure to loot his body and go back up here, and you will find more enemies and even more Minotaurs. Like I said, I'm going to stress, there is tons of Minotaurs, tons of mini bosses, and they're all these big giant Minotaurs that do tons of damage. Now, since they're not boss fights, you know, you don't have to be too careful with the Minotaurs, but they can get really extreme. Some of them do magic, some of them have swords, and then they get crazy with all of their abilities, and they'll kill you. They can kill your whole team, and even though it's not a boss, it can just be annoying because they'll reset or something, but you just got to be careful. Of course, it doesn't matter because you can just respawn, but still, these Minotaurs are so powerful. And then we have the big bad Gal Shibaura, and this boss, let me tell you, is pretty ridiculous. He lives on a little island here, and he's guarding this gate, and the only way to kill him is to go through tons of stupid things that he does. So here's what you need to know about him. He has this attack where you see a little white text where it says Gal Shibaura is preparing to throw his weapon, and you'll see a red ring of damage coming towards you, and you need to jump on the rocks surrounding the island. If you stay on the island at all, he will get you. And then immediately after he does his slam attack with his weapon, there will be rings around the rocks. So once you jump off of the island to avoid his weapon, you need to jump back onto the island to avoid the rocks that he's going to slam. He's going to let out a very loud roar, and rocks will come falling down, and you need to make sure you get off of the rocks. And then, besides that, he's a very simple enemy. He doesn't even have very many adds, so you need to make sure whenever you see he is preparing to throw his weapon, you jump onto the rocks, and then right after he uses it, you need to jump back onto the island because, like I said, he'll roar, and then all these rocks will come down on top of the islands outside of the island. So it's kind of a mouthful. I'm saying rock a lot. You know, I hope you guys are really getting what I want you to get out of this, because this is pretty important that you guys know what to do here. This is a very difficult boss, and if you don't know what you're doing, you could get very lost very quickly. Like I said, I'm a tank, so I don't have a hard time. Even if I just missed entirely his whole weapon thing, I would still live. But you need to make sure that you're getting what's going on. Like I said, as soon as it says he's preparing to use his weapon, jump onto a little rock, and then after he uses it, there will be a red blast area like any other attack. You need to jump off of the rocks back onto the island because he will slam rocks coming down. He has tons of health. He uses his ability fairly often, so he's kind of a tedious boss to kill, but after you kill him, he has quite a bit of loot on him, and he's the second to last boss, pretty much the second to last boss. He has stone atronachs and stuff like that, but very, very simple after you get the concept of jumping off of the island. Once you finish, you need to loot his body, and then you can go to the Bloodroot Forge. You're going to take it all the way up there, walk up the steps, and you'll get to the door to the Bloodroot Forge. You have to kill a few basic enemies, a Minotaur, and then you will find the forge. And waiting for you in the forge are 3 mini bosses, and they have a health bar like any other boss, but they're kind of just chilling for you. And it's very, very important that you know what to do here, because if you don't, you can get confused and freak out a little bit and be like, I don't know what to do, am I doing something wrong, these guys are hard to kill. You want to be very careful with these bosses. Then when you walk into the Blood Forge, you will see your 3 opponents. They are a mini boss to the final boss, but they're actually a boss, if that makes any sense at all. So what you need to do is you need to know that there is 3 different people with 3 different abilities. There's the Attendant of Flame, which is a big old Minotaur, the Attendant of Blood, which is just a normal person, and then there's the Garrig Bullblood. So they all have unique abilities, and they all feed off of each other. So it is extremely important that everyone focuses on one. I don't think it's too much of a deal who you start with, except for the Attendant of Blood. I probably wouldn't start with her. I would probably start with, like we did, the Attendant of Flame, because the Minotaur is by far the most powerful. If you don't start with him, he will stand in the middle and he'll just chain people, and he'll just use his attacks on you. So I would start with the Attendant of Flame, get him out of the way, because he's by far the strongest with the strongest abilities. And then you want to move on to Garrig Bullblood. Now what he can do is he can knock you down, and he can also pull you with like a scorpion like chain. He says, get over here, and then you're forced to come to him. And it's very annoying, because if someone dies and he's still alive, if you're trying to revive your teammate, he'll walk over there and he'll pull you right out. And what can also happen is he gets this little red bar, and then he'll just knock you down. It's very, very annoying. It doesn't really matter in what order you kill them, but I would definitely kill him first, because his attacks are incredibly annoying. He'll just knock you down, or he can chain you to him. And then, of course, we have the Attendant of Blood, and she just heals her allies, so nothing too special there. Like I said, Bullblood and the Attendant of Flame are extremely ridiculous. Their abilities are so overpowered. But then afterwards, after you kill them, you see Earthgore Almagon coming out. So, here is some pre-boss stuff, okay? He can do several things. One of the things he can do is what you're seeing right now, is he can smash everything. He can just destroy everything, and he becomes invincible, and he'll mess you up with this attack. It's called his smash ability, and he'll become invincible with a shield, and he'll start smashing things around him. What you can use to counter this is the Billowing Flame Pillar. You use these pillars to counter his attacks, and you can use this to counter his smashing ability. You also can counter the lava. If you do not use this, the lava will fill up all of the room, and you'll die because the room will be filled with lava. If you do not use the Quenching Blood, the room will fill up with lava, and then you are kind of in a bad situation, because the lava really gets you. It will fill the entire room up with lava. And when the entire room is filled with lava and you cannot walk anywhere, you will eventually die. So you need to use the Quenching Blood as often as possible. And then right here we have a chest, and it is one of the only chests I found in the entire thing. Obviously it was the only one, considering this is the only chest you've seen, but for some reason it was the only chest I could find. Now, besides his smashing ability, which remember can be countered by the Billowing Flame, and the lava that can be countered by Quenching Blood, he also summons little guys of himself, which is pretty annoying, quite honestly. But he'll get himself, which is the biggest one. He'll summon a medium-sized him, and then a very, very little-sized him. So what I recommend doing is killing the littlest one, killing the medium one, and then him, because you can't focus attacking him with all these little people running around chasing you, because it's very, very difficult. to kill the guy with the most health. Obviously, you want to make sure that you have the fewest amount of enemies as possible instead of attacking this guy with the most health that you're never going to kill when you can just attack his little mini-me's. So I don't have gameplay of me killing him, but I'll tell you what happens. You kill him, you loot him, and then that's pretty much it. Nothing else. There's no other rooms, nothing. That's it. This is the entire video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. This is a very, very difficult dungeon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Pump Play signing off.